of you watch television or especially the news? And how many of you listen to the politician speeches? What do you get out of it? When you listen, it's interesting to listen to those speeches. But what do you get at the end of it? Nothing. So that is why a speech, as professional speakers, we need to have a purpose in our speech. Obviously, you can deliver a speech without having a purpose, it will become a politician statement. But we are going to be professional speakers. That is why each speech should have a purpose. And by now you would know the art of selecting a topic, and by also you would know that a speech has to have an opening, a body and a conclusion. So let me add a third dimension to it. Apart from those things that you have already learned, speech should have a purpose. The reason being, at the end of the day, you are going to communicate a message to the audience, and at the end of the day, audience should be able to take something home. As professional speakers, it's our duty. So, speech can be divided into two areas: general purpose and the specific purpose. Let me give you an example. We all work in organizations and we have a general manager. What does he do? What does a general manager do?
Nothing.
General things. Doing nothing. Yes, anything else? He is responsible for everything, but not specific enough to attend something else. For example, he is responsible for sales, he is responsible for marketing, he is responsible for finance, doing operations, everything. So under the general managers, there are specialized people who are heading each vertical. You have the finance head, you have the head of marketing, you have the head of HR, like that. So speech is also like that. There's a general purpose and there's a specific purpose. So this broader speech can be broken down into two main areas: a general element of the general purpose and the specific purpose. So any speech in this world can be broken down into further four areas under the general purpose. You can deliver a speech to inform. The first type of general purpose is the informative speech. Information. You deliver the information. In the universities, many of us would have gone to the lectures, even though we don't understand half of it. What does it try to convey? It trying to convey the information about something. All the lectures, even the speech that I am doing, is some kind of an informative speech. It will give out information. Research paper, if you are trying to deliver a technical speech, all these carry information about something. So one aspect of a general purpose is to provide information. That is one type of speech. The second type of speech is persuasive speech. You are trying to persuade someone. And especially politicians are very good at this. They speak from the bottom of their heart, and at the end of the day, we go and vote for them. So they are trying to persuade. They are trying to persuade all of us to go and vote for them. That's a persuasive speech. Salespeople, they have mastered this art. They are trying to persuade. At the end of the day, we decide to buy their products or services. They are trying to persuade us to do something. That is another type of speech. So if you listen to a similar speech, persuade, you are trying to change your attitude, or you are trying to buy the speaker's opinion about something. That's the second type of speech. Mainly all the speeches that are done by the politicians fall into this category, persuasive speech. Third category is entertaining speech. The main objective of this speech is to make the audience entertained. All the humorous speeches are falling into this category. That's the third category. And the last one is inspire. Now, how many of you are Buddhists here? Yes, most of you are. Do you listen to sermons? At the end of the day, it provides us something to think about. And at the end of the day, we think about, okay, what is going to happen at the end of this. So we are trying to inspire you to reach next level. It's not limited to Buddhism. In almost all the other religions, There is some element like that. So that is the inspirational speeches. So if you look at a speech, there are two main categories. There is general purpose and a specific purpose. And general purpose can be broken down into four main areas. You speak to inform, you speak to persuade somebody, you speak to entertain somebody, and finally you try to inspire somebody. In a speech, we have a limited time, usually less than 10 minutes. So it is very difficult for us to achieve all four objectives in one speech, given the time limitations. So therefore, what is recommended is for us to select one aspect out of this. When you are delivering a speech, you need to think, are we trying to inform the audience? Or are we trying to persuade somebody? Or are we trying to, my objective is to entertain the audience? Or finally, am I trying to inspire? We need to be very clear on this objective. Because we cannot achieve all four in one speech. So usually it is recommended to choose one objective and work on that. So you need to be very clear at the very beginning, what is the objective you are trying to achieve. And you need, by my recommendation, for you to choose one of these four objectives. That is the first part of general purpose. Then comes the specific purpose. So in this area, you need to be really specific. What exactly you want to communicate? Yes, you are delivering, let's assume you are doing an inspirational speech. But what exactly you are trying to communicate? The best way to answer this question is, we all are writing SMSs. How many characters are there? 160 characters. If you could summarize your speech in 160 characters, what can you say about the speech? That is going to be the specific purpose. But specifically, you want the audience to think about at the end of your speech. So there are a couple of ways to arrive at this particular objective. The first one is, if you want to summarize in a very short form, what would be the end message? That is one way of doing it. Secondly, what would you like the audience to take home at the end of the speech? I want all of you to take home at the end of this session, why this particular speech should have an objective, and what are the main areas, general purpose and the specific purpose, and the differences and similarities between those. This is my objective at the end of this particular session. So likewise, any speech should have specific purpose. What exactly you are trying to communicate. Let me use some examples. So your general purpose could be informative speech on house construction. If you deliver a speech like that, your speech is going to be, you are trying to deliver speech on house construction. It's a vast subject. House construction could vary from how to select a land, how to apply for finances, how to select a good contractor, how to select a good mason, how to select good materials, what are the regulatory aspects that you need to. So there are so many things that are there under this informative speech on house construction. That is the general purpose of this particular speech. Then on the specific purpose, to narrow down what specifically you want the audience to know at the end of your speech. So perhaps you may decide your specific purpose will be, after listening to my speech, the audience will be able to know the basic building regulation in practice. So from the general purpose of house construction, you have narrowed down into the regulatory aspect of house construction. Or else you may decide how to choose, how to advise the audience on how to choose a good contract. You've broken it down into a very small area. At the end of the day, after listening to your speech, your message to the audience is, what are the basic building regulations that are available in Sri Lanka that you should comply with? That is the audience is ready to take home at the end of your speech. Here's another example. You can deliver an informative speech on repairing a bicycle. Again, repairing a bicycle is a vast subject. You may narrow down and tell them how to do the basic maintenance and perhaps special attention that we need to do when you are doing a repair of a bicycle. So again, you cannot be too ambitious in your specific purpose. For example, after listening to a 10-minute speech, you cannot expect the audience to repair a bicycle by themselves. That is too ambitious. A specific purpose should also be very practical. So in that sense, after listening to your speech, if the audience can perform basic maintenance tasks, for example, how to oil a bicycle, how to replace the tires, and etc., that will be good enough. But if you could expect the audience to maintain or repair a complete bicycle at the end of your 10-minute speech, then that will not be a successful. So you need to be very specific as well as you need to be practical what you really need to communicate at the end of the speech. In summary, speech should have purpose. There are two main components. What are those? General purpose. It is the main idea of the speech, and the specific purpose. So we usually design speech starting from the general purpose and going down to the specific purpose. There are four subcomponents of the general purpose. What are those? You do a speech to inform the audience, informative speeches. Secondly, you are trying to persuade somebody to change their opinion or try to convince them to come to your side. That is the convincing or the persuasive speeches. That's the second type. For the third type, entertain. Your objective is to make the audience, keep the audience entertained throughout your speech. Finally, inspirational speeches. You try to achieve a high level of life purpose after listening to a particular speech. So you will decide out of these four one area to develop your speech, and when it comes to specific purpose, you need to clearly communicate what exactly you want the audience to take home after listening to your speech, and we need to be practical about it. Thank you very much. Over to you. And I'm happy to take questions.
Yeah. 3 minutes there. You can ask any questions.
If there are no questions, let me now hand over the control to the toastmasters.
No, can somebody fulfill the two objectives in the same speech? Is it practical? Will it be practical?
Sometimes you can do this way. For example, you may deliver an informative speech with some entertainment involved. Yes, you can achieve both objectives, but still there is a main objective. The main objective is for you to do the information. You pass the information, but with a little bit humor. Also, you may do an entertainment speech with some informative elements. So that way you can combine. But it's very difficult to do an inspirational speech with information. These are two extreme cases. So my recommendation is to choose one objective, but you may add a little bit humor to make the speech interesting, not to make an entertainment speech.
So now, let's say as a beginner, now when you are writing a speech, should we initially start with this category first? Whether I am to do this speech on informative, or then you start writing your speech, or what is your advice on that?
My recommendation again, you choose a topic. You should choose a topic that you know about it. Then be very clear on what you want the audience to achieve. What are you planning to do? Are you planning to educate them? If your objective is to educate the audience, then it has to be informative speech. On the other hand, if you want the audience to change their point of view on something, for example, if you take the example of dengue eradication, it's a general purpose. The topic is dengue eradication. Then your speech could be on dengue. You may provide information about dengue. What are the symptoms? What are the causes? What are the precautionary actions you could take? That is one thing. Your persuasive speech could be, you persuade people keep the environment clean. Clean whatever the things, support the authorities, like that is your point of view, communicate your point of view. At the end of the day, you create that particular idea in the audience head so that they will be in your side.
Right.
So
Thank you.
that's two examples.
One question can be accommodated. Yes, go ahead.
The attention span of an audience is very limited.
Yes.
So sometimes if you are especially giving a technical speech, it has to go into something like say half hour, 45 minutes. But how do you manage the subjectives within the attention span?
In a 45 to 30 minute speech, it's a more of a lecture. It's not a kind of a specialized speech, it's a more of a lecture. Then when you are delivering a technical speech of that nature, the audience is usually coming from that particular background. For example, if it is a particular subject, something to do with engineering, you hardly find accountants in that particular audience. So it's all the engineers who are coming there. So then there is a kind of interest from the audience for them to listen to your speech. So in that case, it doesn't really matter because your objective is very clear. Your target audience is also some people who has some kind of previous experience as well as some kind of interest about the speech. Here what I'm talking about is the general speeches, not really technical. If it's a technical speech, you don't have to do all this because the audience is very clear, topic is very clear, as well as the message you are trying to communicate is also very clear. So this particular session is on a general speeches. The speeches that we do on a toastmasters system on daily basis. It doesn't really apply into a very technical and specialized speeches.
Right.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Wish you all the best.
Next,